also known as the other Daryl Bravery. Chapter 1, the music of the spheres. The egg moves at half-light speed through the vacuum, its surface of deep blackness absorbing every stray photon, emitting nothing. Particles with small masses, from stray protons up to grains of interstellar dust, slide around at nanometers from its surface, following the ovoid perimeter until they find their original track on the opposite side, where they resume their motion as if the egg had not crossed their path. The only sign that something exists beneath its event horizon skin is the resonance in the fabric of space-time as it ripples gravity in its wake. The egg has traveled for over 2 centuries, 228.326 years standard to be exact. Viewed from the perspective of those who built it, its journey has barely begun. The protean outpost on the outwallous planet Bakunin, the origin of the egg, had secluded itself from the persecution of the rest of human civilization and looked far beyond the limits of that civilization to propagate itself. The egg's destination is removed from its builders by thousands of light years in space and a million years in time. Packed within it are the combined resources and knowledge of the entire protean civilization. Within the egg sleep the minds of 250,000 people. One mind is awake. An artificial mind devoid of boredom or emotion, a mind that can observe the egg's travel over the course of an eon and not go insane. A mind that sees with an almost omniscient eye. The egg itself is a collector of every scrap of radiant energy. It touches every ripple in the fabric of space, hears the twist of momentum of the particles slipping close to its skin, and smells the quantum foam of virtual particles that break across it as it moves through the vacuum. The mind is as aware as any sentient being can possibly be. For all that, the mind's job is simple. Watch and ensure the egg does not move through anything that could damage it or its contents. That is the directive, the mind's sole reason for being. The mind cannot feel pride, but it knows it as good as its job. It knows in a concrete fashion that it has saved the egg from danger 1,568 times in the past 200-year standard. Dust will slide by the dent the egg makes in the universe around it, but a stone any larger would not so easily be dissuaded at these velocities. While the egg could withstand the occasional grain of interstellar matter colliding with its surface, the mind knows the distance they are traveling. Even sand grains could cause an unacceptable wear on the egg's resources over the course of their long journey. And of course, a rock of any size larger than a pea might prove crippling. Fortunately, the egg is forward-looking enough to maneuver around large obstacles, from dark patches dense with interstellar matter to a variable star whose motion would carry it into the egg's path 2,856 years standard from now. The mind does not feel curiosity. The mind does not sense it as a weakness, since it has a defined procedure for assigning priority to stimuli. Threats receive its full attention, non-threats are discarded as relevant. Unclassifiable phenomena are stored pending the mind's ability to determine if they're threats or not. For the past 5 years, the mind has struggled with its first dilemma. It has observed spectral anomalies around the star Chi Virginis that it cannot classify, and since first detecting it, the mind has returned to consider it every 1 to 5 seconds. Each time, the datum refuses to fit in the mind's model of the universe. Despite its lack of curiosity, after reviewing the same item for the 200 millionth time without being able to arrive at any conclusion, the mind decides that it's unable to properly classify an event. Chi Virginis is now too close in time and space to ignore. Without deceleration, the egg will pass within 3 light years of the star. However, decelerating the egg enough to avoid it would radically alter the path of the egg and therefore its mission. The mind of the egg concludes that it requires consultation with its passengers in order to proceed. With its decision, 250,000 minds held in stasis are freed. There is chaos as the population of the egg wakes. 250,000 thinking individuals suddenly occupy the single body of the egg, each one seizing its share of processing and sensory abilities. All have at least a common memory of donating the contents of their mind to the egg. All have the common shock that they are the result of that copy, and the person they remember is now centuries and light years removed from them now. All suffer disappointment in not finding themselves at their destination. All look out in wonder with the sense array of the egg, once the sole province of the mind. All hear the mind's message. There is something requiring your attention. The mind is surrounded by a sphere of attention as the population focuses on it. Emotionless, the mind does not flinch from stating it is unable to decide how to respond to the anomaly. It offers a choice of proceeding as planned or decelerating and radically altering their ultimate destination or near doubling their travel time. To the mind, velocity is too precious a commodity to dispense with without a communal decision. Almost at once, the population wonders, why? The mind shows them the anomaly around Chi Virginis. Light-speed thoughts ripple across the mental sphere inside the egg. Individuals cluster and debate the meaning of the mind's observations. Most of the population study the phenomenon with the egg's own eyes. Camps develop in the debate, first thousands, then hundreds, then a few dozen as points of view converge and communal differences are ironed out. In the end, there are three camps of belief. The first, smallest group, maintains that the anomaly is non-threatening and should be ignored. The mind should not adjust the course of the egg. The second group, almost 5 times the size of the first, preaches caution. Their mission to seed another world should not be endangered by a cavalier attitude. The mind should start maneuvering, decelerating the egg to ensure that the egg comes no closer than 10 light years of the phenomenon, whatever it is. The last group, and the majority, urges a course of action that the mind had considered. They should maneuver slightly to take the egg even closer, within a light year of Chi Virginis. Their mission should not just be a journey of space and time, but one of knowledge. They should, in fact, be studying this anomaly, not running away or ignoring it. Consensus is long in coming, but the egg eventually maneuvers to come as close as possible to Chi Virginis. The decision is a mistake. And when the egg is within 2 light years of Chi Virginis, it's too late for the mind to correct it.